wanna praise you, Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh. I'm so grateful, Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
For the promises. Life is a blessing and life is a lesson. Life is a setback and life is progression. Life is uneasy at times, life is comfortable. Life will lift you up and at times, life will humble you. Life is a gift, you better thank the Lord for it. Every chance you get, someone is less fortunate. Life goes in circles, life throws you curveballs. Life can be deceiving like preachers in the church halls. Life isn't promised. If I could be honest, the fact that I'm alive, that time has me astonished. Cause I came from the underground, being tossed around, being lost and found. Now they adore the sound of the priest, far from a nuance. Verses are proverbs, written's are the new songs. Another song for the blocks and the avenues. Everything is plain, I don't speak to them in parables.
I wanna praise you, Yahweh.
I wanna praise you.
I wanna thank you, Yahweh. I'm so grateful,
I'm so grateful,
Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
for the power I see the world through different eyes. Every Sunday got the preacher telling different lies, hearing things that I really couldn't visualize. Should've listened, Big said you'd be hypnotized. I was a victim too, I say respectfully. They all up in the soup, don't know the recipe. Talking about I'm not who I was bred to be. Count me out, man, who made you the referee? Trying to get stripes, trying to cloud chase. At 19, I made an about face. Thanks to Christ, it's also about grace. And they lied when they said it ain't about race. But that's another song, I ain't the first to tell you. Woke up on a deeper and a surface level. Learned the laws and the laws changed my attitude. And the song is to show you how a gratitude. I'm so grateful.
I wanna praise you, Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh. I'm so grateful,
We're so
Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
Now let it ride.
I wanna praise you, I wanna thank you.
Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. He never changed his mind. Yeah. Ancient promise written for the world, knew my name. Bloodline deeper than the scars in the chains. Lost sheep, mommy, I scattered in pain. Still the shepherd calling Israel the same. For me, just bridge to them ships on the sea. Every time we forgot who we destined to be. Other nations on our necks sit on the throne. But the covenant still breathing in our bones. 12 tribe from Jacob, yeah, that's family tree. Every name card permanent in eternity. High walls, holy city, shining pure and clean. Ain't everybody chosen, that's just reality. We broke laws, fell down, paid the cost. Still is love, never got lost. He said, wait on me to make it right, you don't worry at all. Write my laws in your heart, you see all won't fall. 12 gates, only 12 ways in. Names of Israel carved in. Angel posted that it don't bend. If you ain't from Jacob, you can't get in. 12 gates, only 12 ways in. Angel readers are carved in. Angel posted it that it don't bend. If you ain't from Jacob, you can't get in. Ooh, ooh, he's staying true. Ooh, ooh, to Israel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We kept trusting in nations that was never for us. let our enemies rise. Yeah, that was our done. Serve strange gods, chase gold and fame. Still he called us holy by name. Every captivity, Assyria to Rome. Still he said Israel is my home. Son of God came looking for the sheep. Not the world, just the ones he keep. When he cracked that sky, roles gon' switch. Oppressors bow low, yeah, the scripture now wish. Those who ruled us, yeah, they gon' serve. Handmaids and servants, that's what the word preserved. From the beginning, he chose our side. Loved us first, never lied. It simply hurt, but it kept us alive. Now we next in line. 12 days, body tight. 12 angels standing day and night. Only Israel got the right bloodline sealed by God's own life. 12 days, no Jerusalem. Rest from bondage, rest from fear. Slavery, the joy is here. Kingdom set for Israel. Ooh, 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 yeah. Ooh, 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 yeah. Ooh, 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 yeah, yeah. Kept commandments when it wasn't cool. Stayed 10 toes when the pressure ruled. They laughed when we was on our knees. Now they serving in the kingdom scene. Not pride, just prophecy. Everything happened like it's supposed to be. From Abraham to Jacob's son. Same God, same love, he ain't switch up one. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We've been through the fire. Whoa, but he never broke the promise. No. Sealed by God's own like cold 12 gates from Jerusalem. Rest from bondage, rest from fear. Slavery, the joy is here. Kingdom set for Israel. All it does now. Oh, from the start to the end. We finally home. Yeah. Israel, listen close. Every word I spoke was always meant for you. Yeah. Yeah. I stepped down from a throne of light, born of Judah in the dead of night. Perfect walk, yeah, I kept it clean. Every law, every commandment seen. I healed your wounds, I spoke your name. They hated truth, I took the blame. Taught you how to live God's way. Called you back when you strayed. Son of God, still flesh and bone. Crown of thorns, still sat on the throne. I laid my life down willingly, so my people could finally breathe. I saw you scattered, torn apart, still engraved on the Father's heart. Every lash, every sacrifice was me paying Israel's price. I was talking to you when I said God love the world, that truth. I gave my life, yeah, that was proof. Israel, I was talking to you. Israel, I was talking to you. I didn't come for every land. I came to free you from their hands, from your enemies, from oppression to Israel. I was talking to you. They flipped the script, they changed the frame, tried to erase your blood and name. But I know who I was sent to save. Lost sheep, walking foreign ways. 12 tribes scattered worldwide. Still hear my voice when I call you mine. I brought repentance, wipe your sin. Forgave your sins, seal your fate. Some say they choose, but they ain't true. Time gon' show who I really knew. Every nation will bow and know my truth. That I have only ever loved you. Hold your head, don't lose your faith. I'm right on time, I don't show late. Every promise still intact. Ain't nothing I won't bring back. I was talking to you, John 3:16, yeah, that was you. Every word that I ever knew, spoken straight to Israel. I was sent for you alone, from captivity to the throne. I never loved another same. Israel, remember your name. New Jerusalem, coming down. Holy city, righteous crown. 12 gates standing side by side. Every tribe named carved inside. No more fear, no more tears, no more chains from former years. What was stolen, I restore. You won't be low no more. Those who ruled you unjustly before will recognize what I ordained. Yeah, order restored, balance made. My people honor no more ashamed. I scatter you, but I never let go. I marked your mind before the world said no. I'm coming back to gather you from every nation, every view, bring you home where you belong. Israel, stay strong. Heaven's promise never fails. I know you well. Live real, soften you. Stand firm, Israel. Your king still walks with you. And what I promise, I will finish.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Israel. Welcome back. Another Thursday. Yep, I see y'all in the comments. Glad y'all like that. I figured y'all like that. I knew Sister Tahara and Sister Casada would probably like that. You know, hey, you know what is funny is I really just ran across that brother. It just popped up on my feed, and I was like, let me check him out. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? And it was nice. It was nice, you know what I'm saying? So, but all right, y'all got who it was, right? Sister Tahara, Sister Kasadia. Y'all got who that was, right? So, like I said, Shalom, welcome back for another Thursday. Yah Bashem Yah Barakatham, Washamaratham. All praise and glory to the Most High. Hopefully this class ain't too long. Hopefully. I'm going to touch on a couple things, right? This class is called, Are You Still a Greek? Right? Are you still a Greek? There's a reason I say that, and I said it specifically because sis. Yep, that's who it is. So are you still a Greek? I didn't want to go the normal route of being a Gentile. That's what it was. I didn't want to go the normal route of that. Right? We have discussions, debates, topics about being a Gentile. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to go a different route. Y'all know I'll take a different route to different topics, just so we get a whole outline of everything, right? So that's what we're gonna do today, right? That's what we're gonna do. So let me share my screen for y'all. Let's get into this. How do I dismiss this? clear this. Salakia, y'all know I be having technical difficulties. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sister Kasadia, can you have your husband call me real fast? Baba Kasha. I don't know how to do this. Now I see why priests be getting tripped up. This is crazy. All right, so like it, y'all. Give me 1 second.
We believe we are the people of God's choice. That's what we believe. We believe we're the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the ones going to the promised land. We don't think Jews are a part of God. No, Jews are nothing but another part of that same race of devils that come out of Europe. Black people are standing up. Black people are rising up. And they're starting to fight.
We were slaves of Egypt. We belong to the Father, ain't no pledge of allegiance. We both to celebrate that killing that he didn't need to. We both to keep the holy days, don't be like the heathen. He said that for a reason. We in Babylon, coming back without a warning like an avalanche. You think you gon' keep hurting people, he ain't having all praise to y'all, you amazing y'all. That's why I'm thanking y'all. So I got this fire in my bones like Jeremiah. Most I keep waking up your people, you the light up. We keep the laws and the commandments you provide us, and we gon' rise up. Keep curses on the people we ain't know. Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Can't forget your brother, you gon' let it blow. He don't wanna raise a child, you ready to roll. Why you think you in them trench? Why you think you in them buildings? Why you think you seen them dealers? Why you think you seen them careless? Why you trying to stay alive? Why you keep that on the side? Why you think they about to ride? Why you think he about to die? Why nobody answer why? We too busy looking fly. Turn that television off, watch what you put in your eye. Let the Bible come alive. Y'all gon' raise your sons and daughters up and they gon' prophesy. Need to let go of them lies. Need to let go of your pride.
We shouldn't have any relationship with the law, not even the Ten Commandments. We should not have any relationship with the law, which is over 600 of them. Because Jesus died to free me.
Do what I'm saying
from the
though.
Big Ten.
Get rid of this image. Get rid of it
They
altogether.
tell you not to keep them laws, cause they don't want you to be yourself. Man, them laws were given to us, they ain't for nobody else. But on this garment, you a king. Border blue around the ring, put Frenches on everything. You ain't no nigga, you a king. They kept us lost for many years. We don't cry many tears, waking up about it is. And they know about who we is, and they know about what they did. How you say you love the Bible when you killing all these kids? Y'all gon' pay by what y'all did. They knew that one day we'll rise. Nigga, this ain't no surprise. I'm a Shiite coming back, cause you gon' live or you gon' die. Repent before he crack the sky. All this pain that we going through. Isaiah 14:1 is what he gon' do. He made a promise to our father that he going to. We keep the laws and these commandments that we can't lose. We waking up about to sleep, just know we can't snooze. We waking up the lost sheep, this ain't no fake news. Be glad for me, cause I could be the light up in the room. Don't be mad at me, cause I can mix it up and make it boom. Should be glad for me, cause I could be the light up in the room. Don't be mad at me, cause I can mix it up and make it boom. They know America's doomed. Man, somebody get the broom. Babylon right in the tomb. They got plenty room for coon. Waking up right out to sleep. Nigga, this is prophecy. Coming back to who we are. I don't see how you don't see.
You're Lazarus. You're the dry bones. You're the prodigal son. You're the lost sheep. You're the people about whom the Bible is speaking, who will stand up in the last days when the trumpet is sounded.
I shall keep it until the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep your law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Hallelujah.
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 Praise the mighty
Hallelujah. Kalaya.
All right. Salakia, Shalom again. Yeah, you know, I had to have Sarge help me out with this thing. This, you know, technical difficulties. It's all good. So let's get off into it. Dang, it's already been like 20 minutes. That's crazy. All right. Like I said, so the name of this, like I said, I'm take this at a different angle. You know, y'all know we be having these debates about Gentiles and so on and so on and so on. Right? So I'm gonna take this at a different angle. We're gonna go on the Greek side. All right. So from the Greek side, I'm gonna say this. If you run into these issues and people pull up Greek on you in conversation, one, Greek is not a nationality. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to make that very clear to everyone right now. Greek is not a nationality. All right? Not a nationality. Greek has to do with a place. Greek has to do with the culture, customs, language, philosophy, so on and so forth. That's what Greek has to deal with. It does not have to do with your nationality. If a person tells you that you're American, that is not your nationality. Right? It's not your nationality. That's not how it works. Okay? We were dispersed. Okay? Remember the 4 tribes, the 12 tribes were scattered across the 4 corners. All right? So we'll go to something that's called the diaspora. I'm not going to get real heavy into it. I'm going to only touch on certain things. I know Priest, for those of y'all that are in the academy, I know that Priest is going to touch on this even a little bit more heavier. So I'm not going to touch it that deep. So I'll let Priest touch on it very heavy for y'all when it comes to the academy. For those that's in the academy. All right. So we'll go here. Y'all can see this on my screen, right? Yep. Okay, gotcha. Diaspora. Diaspora means the dispersion or spread of a people from their original homeland. All right. So when you look at the diaspora, okay, when it comes to us, all the people that's outside of the land, outside of Jerusalem, so on and so forth, those people are in the diaspora. Okay. Now, when you look at who is in the diaspora, like I said, our people were scattered, right? Our people were scattered across 4 corners of the earth. Our people were, all of our people weren't in the land. All right. These are the things you have to look at when it comes to the diaspora. I would say that we are in the diaspora now because we weren't born in the land. We weren't homegrown, I should say. We weren't born in the land. You see, so you can say that we're in a diaspora now. That actually pertained to a particular time because Paul was speaking to people outside of the land. Remember, he went and talked to the Gentiles, so on and so forth, right? So he went and talked to the Gentiles, and people think that the Gentiles have to do with other nations. Who said that it has to do with other nations? This is something that you're just taught in church, right? But no one ever told, or no one ever proved to you in the church that it was other nations, right? Let's go to something. This is Wikipedia. This is something simple, right? Wikipedia is called Jewish diaspora. The Jewish diaspora, alternatively the dispersion or exile, consists of Jews who reside outside the land of Israel. Historically, it refers to the expansion scattering of Israelites out of their homeland in the southern Levant and their subsequent settlement in other parts of the world, which gave rise to various Jewish communities, right? This is us being pushed out of our homeland, okay? You have what is called, in that time, you have dispersed. You have, if you go to the book of James 1:1, scattered, you have scattered abroad, you have dispersed, you have diaspora, you have, so there's plenty of words that they use in the New Testament that means the same thing of us being scattered, okay? Now, the reason I say, are you still a Greek, has to do with the customs that we follow. Right now, a person can say that you're an American, and what customs do you follow? This is why the question is posed, are you still a Greek, right? Because there comes Greek customs, there comes Roman customs, so on and so forth. If you guys didn't know, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get real heavy into that because I know that Priest is going to go over that with y'all, especially if y'all are in the academy. So you have what you call a Greco-Roman Empire, which means they ruled together. All right. They ruled over us together. And when Rome actually took over, they still had Greek customs. They still follow Greek customs. Okay. So when you see in scripture where it says no Jew, no Greek, when you see where we were being called Greeks, so on and so forth, it was because the customs and stuff that we followed. It was because of the language that we spoke. Outside of the land, we didn't necessarily speak Hebrew. It was normal for us to speak Greek. That was, we had been there for a long time. So, so we spoke Greek. We spoke that language, you know what I mean? Whatever language that was, whether it be like Latin or whatever, right? That's what we spoke. Paul was a good candidate. Paul was born in the diaspora. Paul was born outside of the land. Paul was born in the land of Tarsus. Paul was a Roman citizen. Paul was a Hebrew from the tribe of Benjamin. And Paul was a Pharisee of Pharisees. So he spoke Hebrew and he spoke Greek. Because remember, like I said, he was born outside the land. So, you know, he was a good candidate for Yahweh Shai and Yahweh to pick, right? So Paul was a great candidate to put forth the word. Speak Greek, speak Hebrew, so on and so forth. Even if you look in the book of Acts, when Yahweh Shai came to Paul, he spoke Hebrew to Paul. And like I said, Paul was born in the diaspora. He was born outside of the land. But he was a Jew nonetheless. Okay. Let's look up another word. So we have to understand what it is to be in the Jewish diaspora, right? Let me see. Let me see if I can find this video real fast. Let me see. I should have had this pulled up, but I didn't. It's not. I should have saved the video, actually. I ain't even gonna say pull it up, but I should have saved it. But it was talking about the language we spoke in the diaspora. So it's all good. We'll look up another definition. There we go. Okay. Let me bring this. So when it came to the Greek captivity, right, it was something called Hellenization. Okay. So when you look at the word Hellenize, it says made Greek, or Hellenistic in form or character. All right. This is why I told y'all in the beginning, Greek is not a nationality. All right. How can you be made Greek? It's not a nationality. It has to do with the customs and the language and so on and so forth, right? That's what it has to do with. This is what it has to do with. So let's look up how we got Hellenized. All right. And we can just look at a normal, simple AI overview, right? Like I said, I'm not going to get as deep as Priest will probably get with y'all, especially for y'all in the academy. Okay. So Hellenization of Jews meant the adoption of Greek language, culture, philosophy, and customs by Jewish communities after Alexander the Great's conquest, creating Hellenistic Judaism. It involved using Greek in daily life, like the Septuagint translation. For those of y'all that don't know what the Septuagint is, the Septuagint, the Old Testament is written in Hebrew, right? The Septuagint is a translation from the Old Testament from Hebrew to the Greek. Okay? That is what the Septuagint does. It's a translation from the Hebrew to the Greek from the Old Testament. Okay? That's what that is. All right? Taking Greek names, attending gymnasiums, and blending Greek thought of Jewish tradition, though it caused tension with traditional Jews, with some fully embracing it, even undergoing procedures to appear less Jewish and others resisting. Now, understand that I'm going somewhere with this, right? Going somewhere with this, right? Because, like I said, the name of the class is "Are You Still a Greek?" right? Now, this has to do with more than Greek, so to speak, because we already see that Greek is not a nationality. Greek has to do with culture, language, and so on and so forth, right? After the conquest of like Alexander, and then it trickled down. It trickled down to like Ptolemy, it trickled down to Antiochus, so on and so forth, Seleucus, all types of stuff. There was like a whole bunch of stuff going on. They were at wars, you know what I'm saying? They were at odds, land, all types of stuff, right? You can see that in the book of Daniel. But like I said, we're not going to go that deep. We just want to see if you're still a Greek, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get Ephesians chapter 2. Okay. Ephesians chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 11. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11 says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that at that time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world." Right? I went here because this is very specific. It speaks on Gentiles. I'm talking about Greeks, right? It speaks on Gentiles. Excuse me. When it speaks on Gentiles and when it speaks on Greeks in the New Testament, it's borderline. It's running across, it's running along the same thing. Okay? Gentile, and we can look that up in the Greek, which should be ethnos. A multitude. Human family, tribe, nation, people, or group. Okay. Multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus. All right. Heathen, nation, people. Okay. What I wanted to point out right there is Gentile is not specific to other nations. Okay, so if you ever have a conversation with someone and they try to hit you with a Gentile, or if they try to hit you with Greek, no Jew knows Greek, shall be, so on and so forth, right? In Galatians. When they try to hit you with that, it is not specific to a certain people. It's never specific to a certain people. Don't let people try to trick you. Don't let people try to fool you. It has to do with a broad span. It's people in general. Okay, people in general. It's never specific. The context is going to tell you who it's talking to. The context. All right. And we just seen right there in Ephesians that it's the uncircumcision who are called uncircumcision by the ones that are called circumcision. There's a reason for that. The uncircumcision is the ones outside of the land. Okay, the ones inside of the land, they know the law, they're Jews, they're so on and so forth. Those are called the circumcision. Okay. And there's a reason why, because there's something that they followed. The Pharisees followed a certain path. They kept the law, they had it outlined in the city, in the land, right? Outside of that, a lot of people, let me point something out to y'all. Outside of Judea and Jerusalem and stuff like that, in the diaspora, so in Corinth, in Ephesus, in Galatia, they did not know of Yahushua. They didn't know that he came and died for them. They didn't know that. Okay, let me point that out. So when Christianity tries to tell you, oh, he died for the world, they did not know about Yahushua outside of the land. They might have known the prophecy. That's a maybe. But they did not know of him. Let's be clear. All right. Let's be clear. They did not know of him. They didn't know that he came, died, resurrected, so on and so forth. They did not know that. This is why you had the apostles and stuff like that. And this is why you had Paul go out and teach them what was going on. And they taught Yahushua, and they taught repentance, and they taught the law, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? This is why. You know what I mean? So, how were we living? As Greeks. This was our custom. This is what we knew. This is what we knew. Right? Let's get the book of Acts. Let's get the book of Acts 21 and verse 28. Right? Book of Acts chapter 21 verse 28 says, crying out, men of Israel, help. This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law and this place, and further brought Greeks also into the temple and hath polluted his holy place. Why do they say that? They're complaining about Paul bringing Greeks into the temple. Why? Okay. Why? It's very specific. Okay. So when you read the book of Acts, and I'm going to say this, I'll say this very clear. If you don't know the book of Acts, you will not understand Paul's letters. I will say that plainly. You don't know the book of Acts, you will not understand Paul's letters. All right? You know what I'm saying? You won't understand it at all. It won't make sense. It won't comprehend. The book of Acts tells you Paul's journeys, where he's at, where he's going, what he did, the synagogues that he went to, so on, the things that he was battling, so on, so on, so on. So when he's writing the letters, stop thinking that Paul's just writing random love letters. You know what I'm saying? Stop thinking that Paul's just writing random love letters. No. Paul is writing in response to what's going on in these churches. Okay? So like I said, when you read the book of Acts, you'll understand what's going on. All right? So these people were mad that Paul was bringing Greeks into the temple. Why are they mad? Okay, let's get the book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 3 and 4. Yeah. It says, opening and alleging that Christ must needs had suffered and risen from the dead, and that this Yahushua, whom I preach unto you, is Hamashiach. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks, a great multitude, and of chief women, not a few. Right? What is the devout Greeks? The devout Greeks is, like I said, these are the people in the diaspora, okay? These are the people scattered abroad. Why are they called Greeks? Because we fell into the customs, the languages, and so on and so on, right? So the devout Greeks is the one who actually followed the law, okay? Remember we read in Ephesians, there's what you call an uncircumcision and a circumcision. These devout Greeks are a part of the circumcision. Okay, let's go to chapter 18. I'll start at 1 and 2. It says, after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all the Jews to depart from Rome and came unto them. You see, so there was a period of time to where all the Jews were being pushed out of Rome and Aquila and Priscilla was a part of that. Okay, so they came from Italy, but it said they were Jews. All right, now let's drop down. Verse 5. And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the spirit and testified to the Jews that Yahushua was Tamashiach. Okay, so this is what is going on in the book of Acts. The book of Acts, you see that Paul is dealing with Jews that are called Greeks, right? They're called Greeks. Okay, let's drop down a little more. Verse 6 says, yep, that's what I want. And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he shook his raiment and said unto them, your blood be upon your own heads. I am clean. From henceforth I will go unto the Gentiles. Okay, this can be confusing to a lot of people because he's going to go into the Gentiles, right? Remember, we just looked up the word Gentiles. It's not specific to any type of nation. It's not specific to being outside of Israel. It's not specific to the context supersedes etymology. Okay. We see that there's Greeks here. We see that there's Jews here. Where was Paul teaching? Paul was teaching in synagogues. Paul was teaching to the Jews first. All right. The reason he says, let me go teach to the Gentiles is because he's in the diaspora. He's going to teach the people who aren't there, right? The people who are considered uncircumcision, that's who Paul's going to teach to. All right? That's who Paul's going to go teach to. Stop confusing Gentile and Greek and thinking that it has to deal with a whole nother nation. It doesn't always have to deal with a whole nother nation. Context is a lot. Context is a lot. All right. Let's go here. Like I said, we're not gonna dive in extra deep and stuff. We're just gonna overview stuff just so we could go through it. Okay. What does America have to do with Greek? This is why I posed the question, are you still a Greek? Right? America inherits foundational elements from Greek culture, including democratic ideals, political philosophy, concepts of law, seen in its government and buildings. Additionally, Greece contributes to language, many English words, theater philosophy, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, mythology influencing art, cuisine, medicine, so on and so forth, right? A lot of things that we get. We say that this is the last captivity, right? So if you look at all the captivities that we were in before and line it up with where we're at right now, you'll see that it's all combined. We take a piece of everything, right? We take a piece of everything and we put it in. It's all in one, and this is what we're rolled up in right now, right? And some of our people love it. They don't even care. Let's get something else. Stockholm Syndrome. What is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological response where, hold on, let me make sure y'all can see it. Okay, cool. Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological response where hostages or abused victims develop positive feelings, loyal, or even empathy for their captors or abusers, often as a survival tactic characterized by distrust of authorities and seeing captors as human, not a familiar diagnosis, but a copying mechanism seen in captivity, domestic abuse, or cults stemming from prolonged stressful situations where victims become dependent on captors for survival, leading to complex emotional bonds. Is that not what happens to us today? We are in this land where we are captives in, and we are here stuck in this place. We didn't ask to come here. We was captive. We have been slaves to this place for over 400 years. We love a lot. If you look at a lot of our people are coons. You know what I'm saying? Love the oppressor. Love what the oppressor do for them. This is Stockholm Syndrome. You know what I'm saying? When you see a brother who I'll say this. I've seen militant brothers, pro-black, so to speak, but'll date the whitest milk of magnesia. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that movie, Don't Be a Menace? And he got that little milk of magnesia, ugly little farm white girl. I've seen that before. That's Stockholm Syndrome. You see what I'm saying? That's Stockholm Syndrome. Same with us being Greeks, so to speak. We fell into that type of thing, right? Let's go there. Let's get the book of First Maccabees. First Maccabees, chapter 1. There we go. First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11 says, "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have much sorrow." So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised. How do you make yourself uncircumcised? Right? And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Right? Now, there's a couple things in there that I want to touch on. One, it says, wicked men out of Israel persuaded other people, right? Persuaded many. So, which means they're talking to other Israelites, persuading them to make a covenant with the heathen, right? Let's get the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and verse 2. It says, "And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto thy son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son." What did it say? No covenant with them, right? We shouldn't make a covenant with other nations. What is a covenant? A covenant is an agreement. All right? Alliance or pledge. When you see in scripture, it says treaty, alliance, or league, When it says do not make a league with them, it's the same thing. Don't make a covenant with those other nations. We're not supposed to do that. This goes all the way to you, brothers and sisters, voting and everything. You see what I'm saying? You're making an alliance. You're making an agreement. You're actually putting another nation above you, and that is unlawful. All right. Let's get the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 32. Exodus chapter 23, verse 32 says, "Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee." The Most High was giving us warning. Don't make a covenant with these people. They're going to turn you away from me. They're going to pull you away from me. This was Solomon's problem. Solomon's problem wasn't that he had 1,000 wives. Solomon's problem is that he was setting up idols and falling into the idolatry of the wives. Not that he had 1,000 wives. That wasn't the problem. Right? It was the idolatry. Okay. Let's get another one. Let's go Exodus 34. Verse 12. Exodus 34, verse 12 says, "Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee." We are dwelling in a land that does not belong to us. We were captive. We were brought over here, and now we dwell here, generation after generation after generation, right? Even then, we abide by the law of the land, right? We abide by the law of the land so long as it does not go against the Most High. Remember that. Don't think that you have to abide by the law of the land just because it's the law of the land. You don't have to agree with homosexuality, pride parades, so on and so forth. You don't have to agree with none of that. You ain't got to agree with none of that. You see what I'm saying? That conflicts with the Most High. So you don't have to agree with that. You don't have to follow that. You see what I'm saying? But we abide by the land, so we shouldn't steal, we shouldn't murder, we shouldn't do so on and so forth, right? Cool. But that doesn't mean we make a full-out covenant with the people of the land. Remember, we are considered separate people. We're a holy people. So why would you bring yourself down to their level? A lot of our people, you know, if you look in history, we wanted to be equal with these other nations and stuff like that. No, when you be equal with the other nations, you're bringing yourself down to their level. You're not upping your game. You're bringing yourself down. That's what's happening. You're bringing yourself down. All right. Verse 12 again. "Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." Right? So when Christians go to these churches and pray to this white Jesus and this Virgin Mary and this pastor who's floating over the congregation, you bogus. You bogus. And the Most High is like, destroy that. Break them images. We don't necessarily do it physically right now. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of y'all know that, like me, Captain Zakaria, so on and so forth, we break down those images and we break down those altars when we have these debates again, because we're not debating just normal people, we're debating pastors and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? So we're breaking and tearing down those images right then and there in front of a whole audience. This is how we're doing it right now. It doesn't have to be a physical thing right now. All right. Verse 15, "Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice, and thou take of her Salakia, and thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. What won't a man do for a woman? Man will sell drugs, kill, all types of stuff behind a woman. You think he's not going to go a whoring after her God to please her? That's why the Most High say, don't even deal with them. We're not supposed to deal with them because we'll fall into, like Sister Tahar said, idolatry. Because their gods aren't ours. Our God is not theirs. So you're trying to appease this woman, and then you fall into idolatry. Right? Like I said, this is the way of the land. It's the way of the land. America is like the biggest melting pot in the world. You have every religion, every custom, everything in this one place. You have everything in this one place, and we fall into it. Right? Let's go back to the book of Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 1, and we'll drop down to verse 37. Holidays is one of the main things that we fall into. Right? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 37 says, thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Y'all know, just like I know, these people destroy. These people destroy everything they touch. Everything they touch. Most High, like when it comes to a field of crops and stuff like that, doesn't the Most High say leave a piece for the homeless and so on and so forth? Leave a little bit. Them people don't leave nothing. They don't leave nothing. They'll destroy everything. Everything they touch. Right? Verse 38. Insomuch that inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the cities was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Right? Became habitation of strangers. Look at this right now. This wasn't these people's land, and they will have the audacity to tell people to go back to where they came from. You're not even from here. And they'll tell people here to get out of here and to go back where they came from. You from Europe, white boy. You know what I'm saying? But you telling this so-called native to go back to where he came from. He was here first. Destruction. Terrible people. Right? Verse 39. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Wilderness has to do with desolation. Wilderness has to do with inhabitant, so on and so forth. Okay. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. Right? So we see that this is going on in the book of Maccabees, right? This is the first chapter in Maccabees. This is a Grecian captivity, right? Let's get the book of Psalms chapter 78. Because we're going to piece this out. Book of Psalms chapter 78, verse 10 says, they kept not the covenant of God and refused to walk in his law, and forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Didn't it just say that in Maccabees? Right? So lucky. I don't know if I have that on my screen. Okay. Right. So it just said that in Maccabees, right? We didn't keep the covenant. We didn't keep the covenant, right? Let's get Jeremiah chapter 11. Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 10 says, they are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words. And they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I made with their fathers. You see, we continue to break covenants. This is why we go into captivity. We go into captivity. I keep telling y'all, the main reason we continue to go in captivity and receive punishment wasn't because like, oh yeah, we committed a murder. Oh yeah, we committed witchcraft. No, we fell into idolatry. This is why the Most High would call us adulterers, right? Like I said before, if you look up the word fornication, if you look up the etymology of the word fornication, idolatry is under fornication. Fornication is a broad umbrella. It's a broad umbrella. It just doesn't have to do with sexual activity. It's a broad umbrella. This is why the Most High will call us adulterers. All right. And right here, it says that we broke the covenant. You see that? So the same thing is going on in the book of Maccabees. Same thing. Remember, it said that we were trying to make covenants with the other nation, like some idiots, knowing that the law says don't make covenants with them. Right? Let's go Jeremiah 31 and verse 32. It says, not according to, I'll start at 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. This has to do with the new covenant. I explained to y'all before, the new covenant is present, but it's not complete. The old covenant is still here, but it is not finished. All right. I explained that to y'all before. Okay. Verse 32, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord. Right? We understand that the land of Egypt has to do with bondage. It's not necessarily the place. It's having to do with bondage. Okay? So we are covenant breakers. And this is why we get punished. Let's get Leviticus chapter 26, verse 15. All right. And if ye shall, Leviticus 26 and 15 says, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant. I also would do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning og that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of the heart. And ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. Right? We won't prosper. Put it that way. It's the easiest way to say this verse. We won't prosper. Okay? A lot of our brothers and sisters, you know, even if you join military, NFL, basketball, whatever, you know what I mean? You're not going to prosper. It's not your time. It's not your time. All right? Let's get Deuteronomy 31. Deuteronomy 31 and verse 16. Deuteronomy 31 and verse 16 says, and the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of strangers of the land. Our people do that right now. Our people do that right now. This is why the name of the class is, Are You Still a Greek? Our people do that right now. Our people go a-whoring after the things in the land. Like I said earlier, holidays. There's a major holiday that I really have a problem with, right? We have Northern and Southern Kingdom brothers and sisters. Um, and we have a slaughter of our people. And you know, a lot of we'll say so-called black people. A lot of so-called black people be like, "Oh, I got Indian in me," but you celebrate Thanksgiving, so you celebrate the slaughter of your people. How dare you? Because of the way of the land, the custom of this land. Are you crazy? You see what I'm saying? We fall into the custom of the land, right? So you're still a Greek. Let's read it again. And the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whether they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. You see what I'm saying? We are so engrossed in what goes on in this land and in this world, and we're so accustomed to it that we will go against the Most High for what we want. We're okay with that. A lot of our people are okay with that. Like, he'll forgive me later. Yeah, who said you got later? That's y'all problem. Who said you got later? You don't know if you're going to go to sleep tonight and it could be over. You don't know if you're going to walk to your car and it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Your free will ain't as free as you think. It's not as free as you think. It's already outlined for you. So how free you think it is if it's outlined for you? Right? Let's get this. Let's get the book of 2nd Esdras. What about my 2nd Esdras? Yeah, 15. 2nd Esdras 15. And verse 7. 2nd Esdras 15, verse 7 says, Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me. The ones that are innocent and righteous, this is who the Most High hears. Remember, the Most High don't hear sinners. Y'all think that y'all could just sin and turn right around and be like, oh, yep, forgive me, Lord. Nah, he not paying no attention to you. And the souls of the just complain continually, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Right? This has to do with the land. We're in this Babylonian land. We talk about this all the time. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Israel, y'all really have an understanding. We talk about how America is like the daughter of Babylon. We talk about this. So what land is he going to smite? Esdras is not in the land. He's not in the captivity of Egypt. This is how you know this land of Egypt has nothing to do with the actual place. It has to do with bondage. Right? And the Most High said that he's going to destroy the land. This is why it says, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Is he going to have to do that to the actual land of Egypt now? No. It's a spiritual Sodom in Egypt. right? It's a spiritual Sodom and Egypt. So he's going to destroy it. In the meantime, a lot of our people is falling into the customs and the way of this world, right? In the meantime. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to First Maccabees 1:43. Right? It says, yea, many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Don't we see that today? We see that every day, all day. We consent to religion. Remember, religion has to do with worship. Religion has to do with the belief system. All right? Sacrifice unto idols. You devout yourself to a white Jesus. That's a sacrifice unto idols, because your spirit, your soul, now become the sacrifice after Yahushua, right? You did. And then now you're sacrificing unto idols, right? Profane the Sabbath. You either defile the Sabbath by breaking it, or you do certain things that the Sabbath does not require and you break it anyway, right? All right, let's get Ezekiel. Ezekiel 23. I really like this chapter. I don't know who's all read this chapter in Ezekiel before, but this is a very heavy chapter. Let's go to 3 and 4. Ezekiel 23 verse 3 says, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. And the names of them were Aholah, the elder, and Aholibah, her sister. And they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters. Thus were their names. Samaria is Aholah, and Jerusalem, Aholibah. If y'all don't understand what that means, the southern kingdom is Aholibah, and the northern kingdom is Aholah. Okay, the Most High gave us different names in this situation. Okay, because we were falling into idolatry and we were going after the other nations. Let's drop down. Verse 7. Thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all them that were the chosen men of Assyria, and with all on whom she doted, with all their idols she defiled herself. Neither left she her whoredoms brought from Egypt, for in her youth they lay with her, and they bruised the breast of her virginity and poured their whoredom upon her. Wherefore I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers, into the hand of the Assyrians upon whom she doted. These discovered her nakedness. They took her sons and her daughters and slew her with the sword, and she became famous among women, for they had executed judgment upon her. These people, while we're trying to join with them, don't give a damn about you. They don't care nothing about you. They will kill you all the same. They will rape your women. They will kill your elderly. They will enslave your children. And they will kill your husbands. They don't give a damn about you. So while we cleave to these other nations and while we try to follow these customs and stuff like that, they don't care. They don't even like you. They don't even like you. Right? Let's get the book of 2 Kings. Salaki, give me 1 second. All right. Let's get the book of 2 Kings. 17. And we'll jump down to verse 15. All right. Verse 15 says, and they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal. I'm not going to look it up right now, but y'all do understand that there is like 3 or 4 different types of worship in scriptures, right? It's not all the same. Okay. I just want to point that out, because some people think that in order for you to fall into idolatry, you literally have to bow down and stuff like that. No, there's like 3 or 4 different types of worships. All right. Like I said, I'm not going to get into that right now, but I just want to point that out. So if you guys get a chance and you guys are studying, you can look it up for yourself. All right. Verse 17. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Right now, a lot of our people continue to do evil. A lot of our people, it says that they allow their sons and daughters to pass through the fire. This had to do with sacrifice unto Molech. That was another god of another nation, and we will offer our children up. All right. I know that some camps will use that for like abortion topics, but it really doesn't have to do with abortion. Not if you know better. You can use it on a person if they don't know no better, but if you know better, the sons and daughters are already there. That's not an abortion. They just actually made a sacrifice unto idol. Okay. Verse 18, therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only, right? Remember, because he promised that he would always keep a remnant, and he kept the southern kingdom. Okay. Remember, this is when this divorce is going on with the northern kingdom. All right. This is when this is happening. Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. Right? Statutes of Israel is very deep, of which they made. When you see Judah in this context, and when you see Israel is talking about the northern and southern kingdom, northern kingdom actually had their own statutes and own thing that they did make. They had their own priesthood. They had their own priesthood and everything, all right? And you can see that in the book of Kings. They made it separate. But Judah, the southern kingdom, followed after that, and we did it worse. The only thing that saved us, really, the only thing that preserved us is the Most High made a promise to keep a remnant of the southern kingdom. That's what helped us, right? And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of the spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. Right? All this is going on. So I'm just showing you the things that were going on and the things that we was dealing with in comparison to the book of Maccabees, right? Because in the book of Maccabees, this is the Grecian time, right? But even in the book of, in Paul's letters, he calls us Greeks. There's a reason for that. And like we said earlier, it had to do with the customs and language and so on and so on. We're in the diaspora. We ain't have no knowledge of particular things. We are the uncircumcised, according to the circumcised. You see what I'm saying? This is how this is all working. And this is all leading up to it. We're separating. We're falling into idolatry. We're falling into the customs of the land that we live in. It's the same thing that's going on right now. Same thing. Right? Let's get Jeremiah chapter 3. And verse 6. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 6 says, the Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou that which backsliding Israel hath done. She is gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there hath played the harlot. Why does he call us a harlot? Idolatry. All right. And I said, after she had done these things, turn thou unto me, but she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. And I saw, when for all the causes were whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, and went and played the harlot also. Right? So, like I said, the southern kingdom followed in the northern kingdom's footsteps. We did. We're dumb. We are a hard-headed, stiff-necked people. We are. You know what I mean? We are. And yet we think nothing is wrong. We will follow the law and the custom of the land and think that everything is cool. You'll neglect the Most High for what you feel. You'll neglect the Most High for, oh, yep, I'm just doing this for the kids. You'll neglect the Most High for, well, it's my mama. You'll do all that. Right? Like I said, to be a Greek has to do with the customs and language and culture and stuff like that. It's the same thing here right now. Same thing. Right? Let's get one more on this scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 18. Says, behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifice of partakers of the altar? What say I then, that the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. There has to be a separation. You can't love the way of the world. You can't love America and be a patriot and, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? You can't do that and love the Most High at the same time. There's going to be a separation. He's going to divide it. He's going to divide it automatically. Let's go back to Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 44. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and feast days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Right? This letter went out, this decree went out for us not to follow our laws, statutes, and commandments and our customs and our Sabbaths. There was a period of time to where we would hide. We would hide in caves to keep the Sabbath. We would hide in caves to keep feast days, so on and so forth. I forget what they're called, but we would hide. We'll do it in secret. Why? Because we'll die if they seen us doing it. Let's get the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and I'll start at verse 6. This is going to go into a little bit further detail about it, okay? Book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6 says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath. Didn't we just read that in 1 Maccabees? Salakia. It wasn't lawful for us to keep Sabbaths. Why? Because of the decree that went out. right? Or ancient feasts. Remember, it said that we couldn't keep feast days, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So we couldn't even be who we are. This is why our people nowadays don't know who the hell we are. They don't know who they are. They think they're black. They think they're a color. They think they're everything that these people call them: Negro, nigger, black, Afro-American, African-American, so on and so forth. Our people just run with it. They just run with it. That's what it's called, sis. Salakia, y'all. Catacombs, that's what it's called. I couldn't think of the name. the water. But yep, our people just run with it. Right? So we can profess ourselves to be a Jew, keep the Sabbath, or feast, right? And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices, right? Didn't it say sacrifice unto idols and so on and so forth? We don't know where that came from. And plus, a lot of stuff that they was trying to feed us had like swine and stuff like that. We didn't want to eat that. That was unlawful. We didn't want to do that, right? And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying jewelry, whatever. Do I want to keep going on this? Yeah. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery, right? So all these things that we could not do, we'll die for. This is how much our people went through to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And nowadays, or I ain't even going to say nowadays, but even in that time, because we seen that our people wanted to join with them and so on and so forth, we fall into that. We will put the Most High aside for our feelings, emotions, and how we want to do and how we want to move and so on and so on. Our people do that all the time. It's easy for us to do. A lot of our people do not care about the Most High. But if you ask them to their face, do they believe in the Most High? I guarantee you they'll say, yeah. Guarantee. But they do nothing to show it. Nothing. You can ask your sister right now if she believes in the Most High, but I bet you she'll wear some tight pants in front of her friend and have like her whole figure showing and stuff like that instead of being modest and wearing a dress. She ain't going to keep Deuteronomy 22. I'll tell you that. You see what I'm saying? Like our people, they don't know how to weigh the balance. All right, let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 47. It says, we'll start at 46. And polluted the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrificed swine's flesh and unclean beasts. I'm going to stop right there real fast. Sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Right? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 1 and verse 3. Leviticus 1 and verse 3 says, if his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. Why did I point that out? Because it's not unclean. Right? Let's drop down to verse 7. Is that what I want? No. Chapter 7. Leviticus chapter 7. And we'll go to verse 19. Yep. Leviticus chapter 7, verse 19 says, and the flesh that touches any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burnt with fire, and as for the flesh, all that be clean shall eat thereof. But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings that pertaineth unto the Lord, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, the soul that toucheth any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of man, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat of the flesh of sacrifice of peace offerings which pertain unto the Lord, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. So when we go back to Maccabees, they're sacrificing unclean beasts, right? It has to be clean in order to sacrifice to the Most High. Let's get the book of Genesis chapter 8. Book of Genesis chapter 8, verse 20. Genesis chapter 8, verse 20, it says, And Noah built an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar, right? You cannot sacrifice unclean things to the Most High. You can't do that. It has to be clean. Remember, it has to be a sweet savor unto the Lord. All right, let's keep going. Book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 48. It says that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Right? Let's get the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 25. Says, among all matters of uncleanness, right? Leviticus chapter 20, verse 25, it says, Ye shall therefore put difference between clean beasts and unclean, and between unclean fowls and clean. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by beasts, or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. I brought that because Salakia, y'all, I didn't even know y'all couldn't see that, but it's all good. I brought that because it says, their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness, right? Food can make your soul abominable. Food. All right. And it says that they should leave their children uncircumcised. Okay. Remember, circumcision was a token of the covenant with Abraham. All right. Circumcision was the token of the covenant. So it was a sign that we had the covenant. All right, let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6 again. I didn't even know that I wasn't showing you both screens. It's all good though. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and we'll pick up where we left off. Verse 10. Remember, it said they'll leave their children uncircumcised, right? 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 10 says, For there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the cities, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. And others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered to Philip, were all burnt together, because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. Now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for chastening of our nation. Right? I brought that out because it says that these children were circumcised. Now, in that time, if you were caught circumcising your baby, you, the baby, and the person who circumcised that baby was put to death. Because that was something that it was our custom and it had to deal with our covenant, not theirs. Right? So this is what they was doing to us. All right. Let's go. Oh, wait. We already read that. Let's go. Genesis chapter 17. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 11. It says, "And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and that shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you." You see that? So they were stopping us from doing all of the things that we're supposed to do to engage with the Most High. They were stopping that. Why? Because there's a thing called like one world order or something like that, to where they wanted all of us to follow their laws and their commandments and stuff like that. That's what they wanted. A lot of us refuse, right? Let's go Joshua. Even Joshua going into the land, leading us to the land, he did the same thing, right? Joshua chapter 5, verse 2. "At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, Make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time." Joshua had a whole second circumcision because remember that first generation died off. The Most High killed them. So everyone who was coming after that, Joshua had to recircumcise. He had to circumcise. That was the second circumcision. All right. Let's drop down because I know I'm running out of time. It's Book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, and we'll go 49 and 50. All right. "To the end they might forget the law and change the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandments of the king, he said he should die." Right? So we'll forget the law. Let's say this. Hosea chapter 4. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember this and know this. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because they has rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt not be priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children." You see, you forget the law of the Most High, he's going to forget you and your children. This is a what you call it? A ripple effect, right? This is a ripple effect. Let's get Jeremiah chapter 9. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 13. Says, "And the Lord saith, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Baalim, which their fathers taught them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink." Wormwood and gall has to do with it's like a poison. Okay. Not necessarily saying that the Most High is just going to poison your water. He's saying he's gonna pollute you. He's gonna poison you. He's gonna taint you. He's gonna harm you in some sort of way. Right? Let's get a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. Let's get Isaiah 24 and verse 5. Isaiah 24 and verse 5 says, "The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Right? So, we already seen earlier what is American culture? American culture follows after the Greco-Roman Empire, right? So you have Greece and Rome followed after Greece as well. So you have Greece and Rome, and then it trickles down all the way to America. So are you still a Greek? Do you still follow the customs of the law? Like, I hear brothers and sisters be like, oh, you know what? I'm born in Babylon, so on and so forth. And they use this as an excuse for them to slide with their nonsense. Nah, so are you still a Greek though? If I just let you slide with your nonsense because you think that it's okay and it's a justification for you to slide because you were born in this captivity, is that all right though? Are you actually still a part of that? Right? Let's get two more. Let's get Isaiah 45 and 20. I have a few more, but I'm not going to drag it out. Isaiah 45 and 20 says, assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto the God that cannot save. A lot of us do that. A lot of our people do that. We have Jesus pieces and crosses and stuff like that on our chains, and we go to church and worship white Jesus. And you don't even want to be in church, but your grandma like going to church, and you want to see your grandma, so you come take her to church and stuff like that. You don't even hear the word. You just there for entertainment. You trying to holler at girls and so on. You see how all this is stupid? You know what I'm saying? None of that is paid attention to. We'll get one more and then we'll wrap it up. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. It's funny too because I heard Elder Zah bring this out last night. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Right? So again, I ask, are you still a Greek? Like I pointed out to y'all in the beginning of the class, Greek is not a nationality. Has to do with the customs, has to do with the language, so on and so forth. We all speak English. We're all American, so to speak, but that's not our nationality. Right? So pay attention to the way you live, pay attention to the things you follow, the customs you keep, the customs that the people around you keep. You know what I'm saying? And just ask yourself, are they still Greeks? And like I said, I took it a different way because I didn't want to have the same discussion of Gentile. But you see that the Gentile has to do with the Greek as well. It coincides with the same thing. Coincides with the same thing. So when you see Greek in scripture, it's not necessarily talking about a nation. It's not specific to a nation, neither is Gentile. All right. Put it one in the chat if y'all understand, if y'all was edified. Hopefully y'all understood. Lord, you will, y'all did. I'll give y'all a second. Throw one in the chat if y'all did. God. Con. the water assist. All praise and glory to the Most High. All right, all praises. All praises, all praises. Glad y'all was edified. Don't forget about Detroit's class tomorrow, Lord's will, and priest class on Saturday, Lord's will. And for those of y'all that are in the academy, Sunday. I didn't have the ticker going. I thought I did. You know, this thing would be tripping. Y'all seen I had Sergeant Michael Alla in Detroit help me out earlier. So it's all good. We'll figure it out. Technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying? But don't miss out on those classes. Continue to get edified. Continue to take y'all notes. Love y'all, Israel. Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua Barakatham. Happy Sabbath to y'all for tomorrow. If I don't speak to all y'all, Salaki. So yeah, happy Sabbath to y'all. If I don't speak to y'all, and with that, I will say, Shalom.
I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Her name is Babylon. I call her Babs for short. She has a lot of lovers. She lets them pass her port. She has a love affair with every foreign nation. She has a favorite wine. Its name is fornication. She has a purple robe. She has a pearly necklace. And if you worship Caesar, she'll give you worldly blessings. She's insatiable. She cannot hide her passion. Last week, somebody said she rides a dragon. I know it's crazy, but the question is why she had to put a crown upon its 7 heads. And it's even deeper. I had to peep the madness. She made war with the saints that tried to keep commandments. And since she killed the righteous and won't let me be, when she burns, it won't be from an STD. Bodies everywhere, both man and beast. And on that day, the birds are gonna have a feast. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Show me the finest girl. Babs is just as pretty. Her name is Babylon. The girl is such a mystery. Yeah, she's been that way since we were little kids. She nicknamed me Mark like I was 666. She said, you want my number? I said, you high as hell. She said, you need my number or you can't buy or sell. She said, take my number. I know that I can't make you, but I'm espoused to Christ and I'm staying faithful. Isaiah had a vision. He saw the elevation. Jesus preached the gospel. John had a revelation. Her lovers hated Babs, so they burned her up. What's upside down, the Lord could always turn it up. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon.
I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon.
I'm telling Babylon.